Street Fighter 2 was the hypest game of my childhood, and the 1994 anime movie is an almost perfect crystallization of that game's many charms. It has a great, memorable cast of characters for a fighting game, with a colourful, globe-trotting backdrop, and the film combines all of these strengths into a brisk feeling 102 minutes of gorgeously animated, carefully choreographed, and hard-hitting action. For anyone that grew up with Street Fighter 2, I can say that it's still a joy to behold, a real trip down memory lane. But beyond the nostalgia, I also think this is a great pick for anyone looking for a good action film. And as a way of proving that, here's but 3 of my favourite scenes, a mere taste of the adrenaline-fueled mayhem that lays therein. I may as well start with the very first scene, because it sets the tone wonderfully for what Street Fighter 2 the animated movie is all about, capturing the drama and physicality of Street Fighter 2's martial arts. Sagat and Ryu are facing off on what looks like a deserted airport runway. They are all alone, it's night, and the wind is blowing. Knocked down, Ryu responds with his iconic Dragon Punch, ripping a bloody scar across Sagat's chest. A desperate Sagat charges just as Ryu shapes to form a Hadouken. The electricity forks around him, and suddenly, the realistic action becomes supernatural. Yet it doesn't feel cartoonish or silly, just powerful and cool. From this point on, we know exactly what to expect, and that's hype as shit action. Moving along, the next scene I wanted to highlight is Ryu's encounter with Fei Long. I think it's one of the best animated hand-to-hand fight scenes in anime. Fei Long's Bruce Lee inspired Jeet Kune Do versus Ryu's karate. It begins with Ryu brutally headbutting, and in doing so one-shotting an all too cocky bully in an underground bare-knuckle fight, only for Fei Long to jump in and challenge Ryu for the fun of it. Amidst a flurry of punches and kicks, Fei Long has his arm twisted and shoulder dislocated, only for him to unleash a literally flaming kick that finally knocks Ryu to the ground. Ryu responds with a brutal counterattack of his own, a hurricane kick that knocks Fei Long out before he's even hit the floor. What I really love about this moment is just how quickly Ryu responds. There's no build-up or fanfare, it's just so clinical as to be breathtaking, so brutal, and I love it. Talking of brutal, next we have Chun-Li facing off with Vega. I think what makes this fight so exciting is that it has a sense of danger and bloodlust that's perhaps lacking in the other fights. The mask-clad Vega invades Chun-Li's apartment and goes after her with a murderous intent just as she's getting ready to go to bed. He fights with a metal claw, stabbing at Chun-Li's exposed body and tasting her blood like a predator on the hunt that's relishing every moment of her pain. They bounce off the walls and wooden beams of Chun-Li's room until she slowly gains an edge on her opponent by throwing her bed at him and marking his beloved face. And with him now totally disorientated, brings out her famous lightning kick, smashing him head first, straight through a brick wall. It is a totally desperate fight, with an energy apart from every other in the film. So, what I wanted to do here is just show you how kinetic and physical the action in this film is. Sure, it's a love letter to Street Fighter 2, a now retro game first released in the early 90s, but this remains a brilliant action film in its own right, and one that has clearly stood the test of time.